think they made a mistake?
I believe so. I feel like it's because, we could have had any Chris Brown, anybody.
That was Byron Murphy, and you can hear the frustration in his voice. Most NFL players didn't want Bad Bunny to perform at the halftime show, but he did anyway. Now, new footage is surfacing showing a heated confrontation that turned physical. So what really happened? Let's break it down. The footage. Before the Super Bowl even kicked off, cameras were rolling on Radio Row. Reporters asked NFL players a simple question: what do you think about Bad Bunny performing at halftime? The answers they got turned into the clips that went viral. Byron Murphy was one of the first players to go on record. When asked about his thoughts, he did not hold back.
What's your favorite Bad Bunny song?
I don't know no Bad Bunny song.
Think they should replace him?
Oh, for sure. NBA Youngboy.
He was not done. When the interviewer pressed him on whether the NFL had made a mistake, Murphy doubled down.
You think they made a mistake?
I believe so. I feel like it's because, we could have had any Chris Brown, anybody.
That clip hit TikTok and YouTube within hours. It got millions of views. But Murphy was not alone. Multiple NFL players shared similar reactions during Super Bowl week media availabilities, and the clips were compiled into reaction montages that spread across social media. Drake May, the New England Patriots quarterback who was starting in the Super Bowl itself, told reporters on Radio Row that he did not listen to much Spanish music and was not familiar with Bad Bunny. He said he knew Bad Bunny was a big deal and that it would be cool to see the show, but the tone was detached. That clip circulated for how polite but disconnected it sounded. DK Metcalf, the Seahawks wide receiver also playing in the game, told reporters he was more of a hip-hop and R&B guy. He said he had not listened to much of Bad Bunny's catalog. He added that he would be in the locker room during halftime anyway, focusing on game adjustments. That answer made the rounds too. Micah Parsons said on his podcast and in interviews that he respected Bad Bunny's success, but did not grow up on reggaeton. He said he would have preferred performers like Lil Wayne or Drake for a Super Bowl stage. Parsons is known for being outspoken, and his comments were clipped and circulated heavily. Josh Allen admitted he only knew Bad Bunny from seeing him trend online. He joked that his playlist was mostly country and classic rock. He said he was focused on watching the game with family. JJ Watt, now a Fox Sports analyst, commented on air and on social media that while he appreciated the NFL's effort to reach younger and international audiences, he personally preferred halftime shows with more classic American artists. Aaron Rodgers appeared on podcasts during Super Bowl week and noted the language aspect. He said he did not speak Spanish fluently and could not connect as deeply with the music, though he acknowledged Bad Bunny's talent. Then there was Eric Dickerson. The NFL legend did not just say he was unfamiliar with Bad Bunny, he went further.
Do you think it was a good choice?
Well, first of all, I don't even know who the hell the guy is. I've never heard of him. I'm not even big into music anymore. What's his name?
Bad Bunny.
When the conversation shifted to Bad Bunny's stance on the United States, Dickerson said what many were thinking, but few would say on camera.
Bad Bunny don't like the United States. Keep his ass where he at. Don't come on and say
He then asked where Bad Bunny was from. When told Puerto Rico, Dickerson kept the same energy.
Bad Bunny from?
He's from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. You don't want to. If you don't like the U.S., keep his ass over there.
The interviewer then pointed out a fact that made the whole exchange land differently.
Puerto Rico is part of the U.S.
That moment went everywhere. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. Bad Bunny is an American citizen. The clip exposed a gap in understanding that went beyond music taste. It touched on geography, citizenship, and who gets to be called American. These clips did not stay in sports media. They crossed over into entertainment, politics, and culture. On platforms like TikTok and YouTube, the clips were compiled into reaction montages that amplified the cultural divide narrative. Millions of people watched NFL players say on camera that they did not know who one of the biggest artists on the planet was, and that they did not want him on the stage. The reaction split into two camps. One side said the players were being honest. They did not listen to Spanish language music, and they wanted a halftime show they could relate to. The other side said the reactions proved something deeper, that a Latin artist could sell over 100 million records worldwide, stream more monthly listeners than Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and still get treated like an unknown by people in the American sports world. That tension is what made the footage go viral. It was not about music. It was about who belongs on the biggest stage in American entertainment. And that question did not stay in the locker room. It went straight to the White House. The political firestorm. The controversy surrounding Bad Bunny's Super Bowl selection was never just about whether NFL players knew his songs. It became a sprawling, heated political battle that reached all the way to the highest levels of American government, dragging the halftime show into a culture war that had been simmering for months. The spark that lit this particular fire came not from the football field, but from an award stage thousands of miles from Levi's Stadium. At the 2026 Grammy Awards, held on February 2nd, just 6 days before Super Bowl LX, Bad Bunny stood at the podium and delivered a speech that would follow him into every conversation leading up to kickoff. With millions watching, he spoke directly about immigration, identity, and the treatment of Latino communities in the United States.
I'm gonna say Ice out.
The phrase "ice out" became instantly viral. Supporters heard it as a passionate call for immigration reform and compassion. Critics heard it as a direct political attack on federal law enforcement, but Bad Bunny was not finished. He kept going, speaking from a place that mixed defiance with something more vulnerable.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
That line drew a roaring standing ovation inside the arena. Outside of it, the reaction was sharply divided. Conservative commentators argued he had politicized an apolitical award stage, while progressive voices praised it as courageous truth-telling from an artist using his platform to speak for communities under pressure. The Grammy moment did not exist in isolation. It built on something Bad Bunny had already done months earlier that shocked the entire music industry. In June 2025, Bad Bunny canceled the entire US leg of his planned world tour, directly citing safety concerns for his predominantly Latino fan base amid a surge in reported ICE enforcement actions. The tour had sold out arenas across major American cities months in advance. In a lengthy statement posted to Instagram, he explained that he could not proceed with performances in an environment where many of his fans faced heightened risks of detention or family separation simply for attending a concert. He wrote that his music was for everyone, but especially for his people who had sacrificed everything to build lives in America, and that he would not profit from their joy while they lived in fear. The cancellation resulted in massive financial losses for promoters, but it amplified discussions about artist responsibility and the real-world impact of immigration policies. That tour cancellation and that Grammy speech together became the backdrop for everything that happened next. When the White House was asked about the Super Bowl halftime show, the response was blunt and immediate.
At the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party, after the first two quarters, are the TVs going to be on the halftime show with Bad Bunny or the halftime show with Kid Rock?
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt did not hesitate in her answer.
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny, I must say that.
That was the White House publicly picking a side on a halftime show. The president himself went even further. Donald Trump posted multiple times on Truth Social immediately after the performance, calling it absolutely terrible, one of the worst halftime shows ever, and a slap in the face to real Americans. He specifically criticized the near-exclusive use of Spanish, the dancing style, and what he described as a perceived lack of patriotic elements. The conservative media ecosystem moved fast. Turning Point USA organized and promoted an alternative, all-American halftime show watch party featuring Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, and other conservative-leaning performers as counter-programming, framing the entire debate as a question of American cultural identity versus what they described as foreign influence on a traditionally American event. Stephen A. Smith watched all of this unfold and had something pointed to say about the political figures weighing in on Super Bowl Sunday.
And then Speaker Johnson coming out now, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Since when you care about Super Bowl Sunday? Why? Because he sings in Spanish?
Smith, who has a home in Miami and lives around a large bilingual community, pushed back forcefully against the idea that singing in Spanish was somehow disqualifying for an American stage.
I love my Hispanic brothers and sisters. Love them to death. I'm mad I don't speak better Spanish.
He then cut through the political noise and zeroed in on what the NFL was actually trying to accomplish with the selection in the first place.
Bad Bunny is a great selection by Rock Nation for Super Bowl Sunday. I don't mind at all. The NFL is trying to globalize its brand.
And that right there was the tension at the heart of this entire firestorm. On one side, an artist who had used his platform to speak about immigration canceled an American tour to protect his fans and delivered the words "ice out" on one of the biggest stages in music. On the other, the President of the United States, his press secretary, congressional leaders, and conservative media organizations pushing back against his very presence on the halftime stage. Bad Bunny's Grammy speech, his tour cancellation, and his outspoken advocacy for Latino communities had turned what should have been a conversation about entertainment into a full-blown political flashpoint. Media outlets framed the divide as generational, linguistic, and ideological, and it was clear that by the time kickoff arrived, the halftime show had become about far more than music. why Bad Bunny was chosen. With NFL players on camera saying they did not want him and the White House publicly picking a different performer, the obvious question became, why did the NFL choose Bad Bunny in the first place? The answer goes back years, involves Jay-Z, a carefully built partnership, and numbers that are hard to argue with, no matter what language you speak. The partnership between Jay-Z's Rock Nation and the NFL was established in August 2019, and it fundamentally reshaped who gets to stand on the halftime stage. The multi-year agreement positioned Rock Nation as the NFL's official live music entertainment strategist and producer, giving them creative control over the halftime show starting with Super Bowl Live in 2020. The deal was announced jointly by Jay-Z and Commissioner Roger Goodell, and it came in the wake of significant controversy surrounding the NFL's handling of Colin Kaepernick's national anthem protests. Rock Nation's approach from the beginning emphasized global reach, generational diversity, and cultural relevance, moving away from exclusively classic rock or pop acts toward performers who reflected evolving demographics and international music trends. Bad Bunny's selection was formally announced on October 15, 2025, via a joint press release from the NFL, Rock Nation, and Apple Music. The announcement came in the immediate aftermath of Bad Bunny's sweeping success at the Grammy Awards, where he made history by winning Album of the Year for a Spanish-language project for the first time ever. Reports indicated that Jay-Z personally championed the choice, viewing it as a natural progression toward representing the full spectrum of American and global music culture on the world's biggest stage. Stephen A. Smith, in a separate appearance on Good Morning America, broke down exactly why the selection made strategic sense.
A little time left. What's your take on Bad Bunny?
I think it's a brilliant move by Jay-Z, who's obviously in charge of providing halftime entertainment for the Super Bowl.
Smith then rattled off the credentials that made the choice undeniable from a business perspective.
This guy's incredibly popular, #1 in streaming on Spotify over the last 3 years, a global iconic figure in the streaming stratosphere.
When Commissioner Goodell was pressed about the backlash directly, he stood firmly behind the decision and explained the league's thinking without wavering.
He's one of the leading and most popular entertainers in the world. That's what we try to achieve. It's an important stage for us.
Goodell acknowledged that criticism comes with every selection, but made it clear the NFL had no regrets and no plans to change course.
I would say that I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. It's pretty hard to do it when you have literally hundreds of millions of people.
He then delivered the line that summed up the league's entire position heading into Super Bowl Sunday.
Platform that he's on, and I think it's going to be exciting and a united moment.
Over at the Breakfast Club, the conversation was just as spirited, but the hosts were already looking at the numbers. Charlemagne the God laid out why he thought the debate was missing the point entirely.
I do know one thing about Bad Bunny. He's one of the biggest artists in the world.
He is.
And that's what the Super Bowl is about.
He pressed the case even further, pointing out that the Super Bowl has always been about putting the biggest name possible on that stage, regardless of personal taste.
Super Bowl is about putting the biggest artists in the world on that stage. And guess what? There's artists that they may put on that stage that may not necessarily appeal to me in my demographic, but you know, that's how you learn.
DJ Envy drove the point home by putting Bad Bunny's streaming numbers side by side with the artists people were suggesting should have taken his spot instead.
So to put it in perspective, Drake streams about 82 million monthly. Kendrick does about 72 million. And Bad Bunny does 77 million.
Those numbers matter because they strip away the emotional arguments and lay it bare. Bad Bunny was not some niche selection. He was streaming more monthly listeners than Kendrick Lamar, sitting right behind Drake, and had sold over 100 million records worldwide. He had just finished 30 sold-out dates in Puerto Rico at a venue holding 19,000 people, and the finale of that residency streamed on Amazon Music as the most watched single artist performance on the platform to date. This was also not Bad Bunny's first time on the Super Bowl stage. He made his debut appearance as a featured guest during Super Bowl Live on February 2nd, 2020 at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. That show was co-headlined by Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, and Bad Bunny appeared during Shakira's segment, performing a cover of I Like It and a mashup of Chantage and his own breakout single, Kalaita. That appearance introduced him to an estimated global audience of over 100 million viewers and foreshadowed his future headline role. Beyond music, Bad Bunny had proven his ability to command massive live audiences through his involvement with WWE, where he trained rigorously and competed in high-profile matches at WrestleMania 37 and WWE Backlash 2023. He executed complex moves, took real physical risks, and earned widespread praise for his commitment to live spectacle entertainment. These experiences underscored that Bad Bunny was not just a recording artist, but a proven performer who could handle the pressure, physicality, and unpredictability of a massive live stage. So when the NFL and Rock Nation looked at the landscape, the decision was straightforward. The biggest Latin artist on the planet, record-breaking numbers, a prior Super Bowl appearance, proven ability to deliver in live spectacle environments, and he represented a demographic that constitutes the second largest population in America, with Latinos making up roughly 20% of the U.S. population and contributing $4.1 trillion to the U.S. economy. Bad Bunny was not just a pick, he was the pick. The show. When the lights dimmed inside Levi's Stadium on February 8, 2026, and the halftime clock began, the field transformed into a meticulously crafted visual love letter to Puerto Rican culture, history, and resilience. What the 100+ million viewers saw over the next 13 minutes was not just a concert, it was a statement delivered through every prop, every dancer, every lighting cue, and every carefully chosen song. The performance opened with a recreation of a sugarcane field, a direct nod to Puerto Rico's agricultural history and the labor of Giberos, the rural workers who shaped the island's identity. Dancers emerged wearing traditional pava straw hats and white linen outfits, reminiscent of early 20th century field workers, moving in synchronized formations that spoke to both hardship and communal strength. As the music built, the field transformed. A brightly painted wooden house structure rose from the center of the stage, complete with a porch and surrounding foliage. This was a casita puertorriqueña, and it symbolized home, family, and the enduring Puerto Rican spirit amid hurricanes, economic struggles, and diaspora. The casita served as a recurring anchor point throughout the show, with Bad Bunny returning to it during transitions between segments. One of the most visually striking segments reimagined a classic Puerto Rican house party, or marquesina, a gathering under a home's carport or driveway. The stage shifted to depict an urban parking lot scene with lowrider cars, string lights, and dancers in casual streetwear performing high-energy perreo and salsa steps. Subtle political references appeared throughout the production. During a performance of El Apagón, lighting effects simulated flickering power grids and blackouts, alluding to Puerto Rico's ongoing electricity infrastructure issues following Hurricane Maria. The tone remained triumphant rather than accusatory, but the message was unmistakable for anyone paying attention. The Breakfast Club's post-show discussion captured this detail perfectly. The hosts noted how their Puerto Rican colleagues had explained the layered symbolism to them during the broadcast.
You know, that they were people. I was like, no, I didn't know that. That was so creative to have that. You know, I didn't know that.
The cultural layers kept revealing themselves. The coconuts, the sugar canes, and notably the electricity poles, which were described as a dig at the Puerto Rican government's failure to fix the electrical grid, despite receiving billions in aid.
Some of my PR people told me the coconut stand, the sugar canes, the electricity poles was a dig at the PR government because they keep having blackouts. So all that money to fix the grid and nothing.
One of the most emotionally charged production moments was a real wedding ceremony conducted on stage. A couple, reportedly longtime fans selected through a contest, exchanged vows in a brief, heartfelt ritual with Bad Bunny serving as a witness. Dancers formed a celebratory circle with floral arches and confetti cannons, and the moment added an unrehearsed authenticity that resonated deeply with viewers watching around the world. The musical portion featured a tightly paced medley of Bad Bunny's biggest global hits, almost entirely in Spanish, with explosive performances of Titi Me Pregunto, Monaco, Onex 102, and Dakiti. The crowd could be heard singing along on the broadcast audio. The guests elevated every peak moment of the show. Lady Gaga made a dramatic mid-show entrance during a slowed-down bridge, joining Bad Bunny for a live duet of their recent collaboration, Die With a Smile. She appeared in a sparkling red ensemble on a raised platform surrounded by dancers holding glowing orbs. The moment shifted the energy toward emotional vulnerability before exploding back into up-tempo choreography. Ricky Martin emerged during a salsa-infused segment, bringing cross-generational Latin pop legitimacy to the proceedings. The two performed a high-energy mashup incorporating Martin's classic Livin' La Vida Loca rhythms with Bad Bunny's Yo Perreo Sola, creating a multi-generational dance breakdown that paid homage to earlier Latin crossover eras while reinforcing Puerto Rican pride. Karol G joined for a fiery rendition of Amargura and elements of Tusa, delivering powerful vocals in a female-male perreo battle that highlighted empowerment themes with pink lighting and floral projections adding visual contrast. contrast, Cardi B appeared briefly for a rapid-fire verse exchange during a trap-heavy portion, bringing New York Dominican energy. Pedro Pascal delivered a non-musical but memorable cameo, narrating themes of diaspora and homecoming in both Spanish and English during a cinematic transitional moment. Bad Bunny himself appeared in multiple outfit changes, culminating in a custom white football jersey bearing his birth surname Ocasio on the back with the number 64. Toward the finale, he picked up an actual football and playfully rushed across the stage with exaggerated athletic moves, spawning immediate memes comparing his yards gained to the actual players on the sidelines. The closing sequence featured waving flags from across the Americas, prominently Puerto Rican and American, reinforcing the multilingual unity message that had been woven through every minute of the production. The NFL's official social media channels launched a coordinated campaign of short clips and highlight reels immediately after the show. One recurring label used across multiple posts was iconic, positioning the set as a historic milestone in Super Bowl entertainment. The content emphasized visual, spectacle, cultural vibrancy, and global appeal, deliberately steering the narrative toward celebration. The aftermath. The moment the halftime lights went down and the players returned to the field, the reaction across America and beyond was immediate, emotional, and deeply divided. For the Latino community in particular, what had just happened on that stage was not simply a halftime show. It was a cultural milestone that many described as one of the most significant moments of representation they had ever witnessed on mainstream American television. In the Bronx, where the largest concentration of Puerto Ricans live in New York City, a restaurant called Barrio VX became ground zero for the kind of raw, unfiltered reaction that no social media algorithm could manufacture. A reporter on the scene captured the atmosphere in real time.
Bad Bunny literally brought the house down right here in Barrio VX, a restaurant in the Bronx where
many of the people there had not even come for the football game itself. They came specifically for the halftime show.
Fans got together to watch the halftime show, and a lot of people weren't even interested in.
What happened when the music started was something that could not be faked or staged.
We're just here for Benito Bowl, and let me tell you, people danced, people sang, people cried. It was
the emotional weight of the moment extended far beyond one restaurant in one borough. Fans described feeling a connection that bridged geography, language, and generations.
This moment was for us as Latinos. It was such a moment to bring the pop culture.
The physical, visceral nature of that shared experience was something people struggled to put into words.
How we have our presence in this day and age.
Every bone in my body was shaking. You could feel.
Back on the Breakfast Club the following morning, the hosts processed what they had witnessed. Charlamagne Tha God acknowledged that the entire night had been dominated by one man, even during Black History Month.
No Black History Month celebrations last night. It was all about Benito.
But rather than framing that as a negative, the hosts leaned into what the performance actually accomplished for them as viewers who do not speak Spanish. The language barrier, which had been the centerpiece of every criticism thrown at Bad Bunny for months, turned out to not matter at all when the show was actually happening.
I don't need to know the language to understand the vibes. And the thing I do love about the Bad Bunny performance.
That statement captured something fundamental about what happened on that stage. The performance transcended language because it was built on energy, visual storytelling, and cultural expression that communicated without needing translation. The Breakfast Club host continued with a point that reframed the entire debate.
It gives you an opportunity to learn.
And that is precisely what the performance delivered. Not just entertainment, but exposure. Not just a spectacle, but an education in a culture that over 68 million Americans call their own. The hosts made it clear they felt Bad Bunny had stayed true to himself and his roots throughout every second of the show.
But it was a dope show, man, and I think he stood for his culture, stood for his community, stood for Puerto Rico.
And then there was the matter of Bad Bunny's Grammy speech, the one that had caused so much controversy in the days before the Super Bowl, the one where he said, "Ice out," the speech that had politicians calling for his removal from the halftime show. When you listen to the full speech, the message was not about division, it was about something else entirely.
The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is...
He finished that thought with a word that undercut every accusation of divisiveness that had been thrown at him for weeks.
Love. So, please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love.
That was the message. Not hatred, not political warfare, love. And by the time the confetti settled at Levi's Stadium, that message had been broadcast to hundreds of millions of people around the world, delivered in Spanish on the biggest American stage by a Puerto Rican artist who had been told he did not belong there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.